If you're an entrepreneur, so from your vantage point, what are businesses or startups doing it wrong when it comes to PR or their approach to PR or their approach to brand building? What are some
Mhm.
of the common issues that you have seen that they're easy to fix that businesses are doing it wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gets back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Like, um, a lot of startups don't spend enough time thinking about who they are, and they talk more about they talk more about what their solution is than the problem that they're solving, right? They haven't fully defined their value proposition. And so when you create a brand, by definition, a brand is the emotional connection that a company has with customers, hopefully, right? And it creates trust. And so what startups often do is they don't want to do all the work to create a brand.
Hmm.
you know, they're moving so fast. And but what they're saying isn't connecting with prospects. They haven't properly defined a value proposition that strikes the hearts and minds of the people they wanted to talk to. And in some ways, it begins with understanding very clearly who you are and what your company's values are, and stating those. I know so many startups when we would talk to them and we would say, well, so what are your company values? Right? Because it plays into the story.
Hmm.
And they just say, well, we drink beers on Thursday nights and we have a mission statement over the front door. Those aren't values. Values are like integrity or creativity, and then from there, how do those values infuse your business processes, right? And that comes out in your story and how you serve customers and how you respond to them and fix
Hmm.
problems. And when your CEO is going to get out there and admit a mistake because something didn't work, right, rather than shoving it under the rug, like, so startups have a hard time doing that because they're moving so fast. And you might say that those are some of the softer things, right, to
Hmm.
do to building a brand, but they are essential. They're the foundation.
That's a very good point. And on that note, so when should start a startup think about having a PR strategy? Like, what's your take on when should I be considering? Okay, let me talk to either a PR agency or at least get myself attuned to these couple of common tactics.
Right. Okay. So there's a two-part answer to that. I mean, first of all, you have to have the basics. You have to have a product or a service that works. You have to
Hmm.
have at least three or four, a handful of customers who are beyond the proof of concept stage, who are actually using it, are paying customers.
Hmm.
Who might be willing to talk about their experience using the technology, or why they bought it, right? I mean, that's table stakes. There are other things that are important, like a vision, a market, go-to-market strategy, an executive team with a broad bench, and good financing to support the effort. But at that point, if you're like a B or a C round venture funded company with these other caveats in place I just mentioned,
Hmm.
that would be the time to engage a firm, to help you set strategy and execute. But having said that, the other answer to your question is sometimes companies are such huge disruptors, right?
Hmm.
They need to get the message out sooner. They want to make a big splash in the market with their strategy and their vision, even though they don't have the actual technology functioning yet. And then it may make sense, right, to start to prime the market, to educate the market about what this disruptive technology means, because it takes a while for a market to embrace it, right,
Hmm.
and to accept it and to understand it, even. So there may be cases where you want to start earlier, right, even in a seed round, and doing things kind of, very focused, not spray and pray, but putting some content out there, having your CEO give a talk at a
Hmm.
conference, um, seeing and being seen in different venues, to start to build a little bit of air cover. That may make sense.
Wonderfully put on. And on that note, so walk us through some other techniques, some other strategies that are pretty frugal for a startup to execute, and that will pave way for indulging, or at least getting the word out while they can or may not be able to afford a good PR firm. What are some of the easy to adopt techniques, as you
Yeah.
rightly pointed out, CEO being out there talking and all that fun stuff? So walk us through some other strategies that exist today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's also talk about, PR firms, right? They come in all shapes and sizes. There are huge firms that are, global agencies with offices around the world. If you're a startup, do you need that? No.
Hmm.
Uh, there are mid-sized agencies that sometimes offer more than just public relations. They also can handle your social media, or maybe think you might need a video, or they have good writing services, and they are sort of like more in the small to medium size range, right? And depending on what your goals are, they may be perfect. But if you're a startup and you're a seed round or A round company, and you're still trying to get your beta customers to have a good experience, right?
Hmm.
You don't need an agency. Maybe you just need a good freelancer or a contractor
Hmm.
who has been in the industry for a while and can help you start to create some content. Even starting to post on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
it is very useful, to start to build a base level of awareness. And then when you're ready to kind of announce that you're on the map, you have these customers, you have this funding behind you, these are your executives, that's when you want to start to broaden the bench and maybe scale from a contractor freelancer to a small firm. And a small firm might be like 3 or 4 people,
Hmm.
and plenty of them now. So there are many different options, and you have to match the right solution, PR solution, to where your business is at and the type of business you have as well.